Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Now if you follow me on any form of social media that I happen to be on, be it Instagram or Bluesky or through the Plastic Crack podcast community, you'll have noticed that over the past sort of 4 or 5 weeks my hobby output has been somewhat different to the norm. I've been painting a lot of old and retro Warhammer 40,000 figures, and very different to what I'd normally be doing, and I thought I'd make a video to explain exactly what I've been up to and why I'm doing this, my goals, my objectives, my aims for my painting of old 40k figures. So indulge me while I step back in time and I talk you through my history with Warhammer 40,000. Now it all started back in 1991 with this, the original Rogue Trader 40,000 rulebook. Now my friends Pete and Andy got into this in 1991 and introduced me to it, and I'd never seen anything like this in my life. I was blown away. It was so interesting, so different. Prior to this, I was a model maker. I built airfix and matchbox military kits. This though was something completely different. I'd never been a wargamer, and they showed me how to play this, and instantly I was hooked. It was one of the best things I think I'd ever seen. So I picked up my very first copy of White Dwarf, White Dwarf 141, I believe it was, and I consumed every page of that magazine, just reading and learning and looking at the cool miniatures and the cool background and the lore. And especially the battle report. The battle report was Blood Angel versus Eldar, and I must have read that battle report 50-60 times, just absorbing everything. Just fascinated me so much. And then December 1991, I'd obviously been a good little boy that year, because I managed to get the exact army that Andy Chambers had used in that battle report, the Blood Angel Space Marines army. I got the whole thing for Christmas. And so I set forth with enthusiasm and gusto and not much talent, and threw paint all over them, glued them together badly, used about 4.5 pounds of epoxy resin glue to put the thud gun together. But it was mine, it was my army, and I was proud of it. And I used it in games of Warhammer 40,000, the very first Rogue Trader edition, as our club every Tuesday night between 6 and 10. School holidays, weekends, we found somewhere to play, and we'd play games of Rogue Trader 40k. Now we played it like it was meant to be played more of a narrative sort of roleplay game. We had sort of fairly sized, armies, but we had smaller games, bigger games, and it was a great time, and I enjoyed it so much. And like I said, we played as often as we could. Yeah, and it was my intro into the wargaming hobby, and I'll be forever grateful to this mystic tome here of goodness that got me into wargaming. And then 1993, something occurred, and it changed my hobby forever. And it was the introduction of this, which is Warhammer 40,000 2nd edition. This time it was a box set. You got everything you needed in this box. You got Space Marines, Orcs, Gretchen, a card dreadnought, buildings, dice, rulebooks. And to say that we got into it heavily is a bit of an understatement. We played this game incessantly. I got mine for Christmas in 1993, December 1993, from Games Workshop Chester, which is my local store at the time. Got it for Christmas Day. Couldn't wait to open it, and again set forth of my enthusiasm to painted them all up really badly, because I wasn't a very good painter. But we all had 2nd edition armies, and we played it all the time at the club. Again, weekends, school holidays, anytime we got an opportunity to play 2nd edition 40k, we did. We just played it over and over and over, and it was our go-to game. In fact, the only time we took a break from it was in 1994 with the release of 3rd edition Blood Bowl. We spent a month playing a Blood Bowl league during the school holidays, and 40k sort of went on the back burner. Once we got the league out the way, and we got Blood Bowl sort of out of our system. Although you never really do a Blood Bowl. We carried on with 40k second edition, and we played, and I've probably played more games of this 40k second edition than any other game combined. That's how much we played it, and we played this up until the release of this, which is 40,000 third edition. This would have been around about, when we started getting into this, it would have been around about 2000. A lot of people had sort of left the hobby, gone to university, or like myself had started a full-time job. But we still wanted to keep playing 40k, and we started playing this, and I believe we had possibly 3 or 4 games, and that was, we didn't really get on with it. And so we stopped. We just stopped playing 40k. And which was a shame, because it's been a massive part of my gaming history as 40k, and I've always liked the lore, the background, the fluff. I've read the Horus Heresy books, and I continue to paint 40k figures just for the joy of painting. And then that got less and less and less, and I was more into the historical side of things. And then last year I came across Grim Dark Future by One Page Rules, which is an opportunity to use what I'd painted. Because what I'd done is I'd got all the Space Marine bits and pieces, repainted them to a degree, rebased them with the aim of playing it in Grim Dark Future. Because I still had that sci-fi itch. I still like sci-fi gaming. I thought, yes, this will allow me to do that, and it sort of went nowhere. I painted them, but didn't do anything with them. Put them in a box. I forgot about them, and then about 5 weeks ago, everything changed. So what happened 5 weeks ago that sparked this rather interesting change in direction for my painting? It's this. It's a video by Matthew at Miniscape. Now, I've been watching Matthew's videos for a while. I just love the retro feel, the retro painting, his enthusiasm for 40k. It's really good, and I've always enjoyed watching his videos. But he made this video, and I'd never seen it before, and it was just recommended to me, and it was how to play Warhammer 40,000 second edition today. And I clicked on the video, and everything changed. everything changed. What you see before you hear is my original copy of Warhammer 40,000. It's battered, it's tatty, it's dog-eared, it's being held together with sellotape, but it's mine. This is the exact one I got for Christmas in 1993, and obviously it's missing a few bits and pieces. The figures are long gone. The tokens, I think they got mixed up with mine and my brother's copy of Necromunda, and I've no idea where that is. The dice were gone, so the sustained fire dice, they're gone. But the main thing is the books, all the rule books, all the war gear cards, all the vehicle data faxes, they were all there. They were all there. And after watching Matthew's video, I was like, I can do this. I never thought I'd be able to play Warhammer 40,000 ever again. Be it for a lack of opponents, a lack of figures, a lack of everything. But this video showed me this is not the case. You can indeed play Warhammer 40,000 today. And I've started watching all different battle reports. So Matthew's own videos with Ed from Minisodes. Yeah, and the enthusiasm, and it's just taken my hobby in a direction I didn't think was ever going to happen again. And it's been interesting. So what I'm going to do is show you what my aims are, what I've been painting, some of my existing armies, and my plans for the future. Like I said, my main aim is to, by the end of this year, 2025, to have played one game of second edition 40k. That's what I want to do, and that's what my plan is. So let's have a look at what my current army is and the plans for this. So here it is, my Space Marine army that I'm going to be using for games of second edition. It's made up of all different bits and pieces from various editions of 40k, different years. I think the oldest stuff I've got dates back to possibly 1995. I've got some stuff from the early 2000s as well. I'm not too precious about what I'm going to be using. If I need a figure, no, I'll use whatever figure I can find. Ideally though, I'm going to be aiming for sort of as closer to sort of second and third edition that have that old school retro feel about them. That's what I'm aiming for. And there's a few eBay purchases in here that I'll talk you through in a second. But before I get onto that, I just want to point out the hobby bucket list scenery there. The alien cacti. These were a staple in early battle reports of 40k, and I've always wanted them on my table, always. And one thing I noticed through watching other people's retro videos, so like Minisodes and Crown of Command, cactus, green and red cactus, and so I made my own, and I'm super happy with how they turned out, and I can't wait to use them. It's a strange thing how scenery can really take you back, but I really enjoy working on them. They're strange and they're bizarre, but yeah, hobby bucket list fulfilled. Anyway, onto the actual miniatures. So they've all been based. I wanted to do these bases Goblin Green, traditional Goblin Green, but I've done cork bases for what was going to be my Grimdark Future project, and I like the bases. They're not too in your face. But they tie the army together. So a lot of the stuff, so the Tactical Squad, the Dreadnought, the Terminators and the Assault Marines, they were already in my collection. They'd all mostly been painted for one-page rules. The Rhino, I believe this is 25 years old. I may have picked this up in 2000, one of the Battle Force boxes. It's missing a few bits and pieces, but I think it adds to its charm. It's missing the handrails, missing the rails from the top, but for the most part it's mostly there, and it's so iconic. Such a great vehicle. My original one that I got in 1991 was turned into a whirlwind. There were some instructions in a copy of White Dwarf, and I ruined it essentially and gave it this awful camouflage pattern. The things I did with my figures when I was younger. But for the most part, I owned them all. Even strangely, this Kit Bash Chaplain that I do not actually remember Kit Bash. He's got a jump pack. I don't actually remember making him. He's got to be over 15 years since I made this. Got no idea. But I've got Chaplain there. So I've been on eBay quite a bit recently. When I looked at what I had, I had a few things, missing a few things. I was actually missing two of the 5-man scout squad, and unbelievably I went to eBay and someone was selling the exact two bundled together that I needed. But we just have a look at the stats. These are from 1997. These scouts, metal, and they were really good to repaint. Some of them needed. The sergeant was half painted, and the other four weren't. So again, this was one that I picked up off eBay. Really good condition as well. One thing that terrifies me about buying used miniatures off eBay is the condition they're going to show up in. But these turned up in a remarkable. I think they've been stripped, but they were really enjoyable to paint again. And I painted this over the week. That red guns, red bolt pistols, very second edition 40k. And then I started looking for bits and pieces, so I wanted to add more characters. And now back in the day, I had this, which is the command box. I have no idea what happened to the miniatures. A couple of house moves over the past 25 years. I've lost a lot of stuff, but I wanted to put these back together, and so I sort of did that again through eBay purchases. So here's the commander from that box. Lovely miniature. I mean, there's just so much nostalgia attached to these. I've actually put the rest of the box together. I still have the veteran sergeant from that box. He was one that survived, so he will eventually be leading my soon to be put together Devastator squad. Again, really iconic looking miniature there. And then also another eBay purchase was this, a Tech Marine. So I raided my bits box to find my left arm and went with this sword. And just painted this over a couple of nights. And again, I mentioned it on the podcast, I've been so happy painting these. It's just been so much nostalgia, taking me back to some really happy wargaming memories. The one that I wasn't looking forward to, was I've never been able to paint white, is the Apothecary. Super happy with how this turned out though. Like I say, I loathe painting white. It never looks okay. But super happy with this. Spent all day a couple of weeks back on a Saturday working on this. It's weird, I've even been able to start painting faces again, which is something I've struggled with for many years. So I think that's from 1995, I want to say. It's a different medic to the box, but much of a muchness is an Apothecary. This is one of the newest ones I have. This was the Librarian and Terminator armour from 2007. This had a total repaint last year. It's a hefty model. It's a real chunk of metal, but lovely, and again really nice miniature. What else we have? So we have some Assault Marines. These are the plastic ones. So what I'm going to be doing is using the combat squad rule and taking everything in squads of 5. These aren't going to be serious games for me and my eventual opponent. I'm going to try and rope my regular gaming buddy Ian into games of 40k. But these are the old plastic Assault Marines. You might ask about the chapter. I've not decided yet. This is a homebrew chapter, but I really like the idea of having a chapter all in blue. It could be I don't know. I've got no idea yet. I may even paint over the back and turn them into Blood Angels, Ultramarines. I've not decided yet. That option is still on the table. And then we have some of the plastic Terminators. Well, these are all close assault ones. So they've got Lightning Claws or Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields. And then we have this Dreadnought. So I painted this in 2010. And it's been sat in my collection ever since. And then we've got a tactical squad at the back, which can be broken into, sort of 2 5-man combat squads. What's on the desk? So at the moment, I've just recently purchased this off eBay as well, Standard Bearer, for the sort of the character selection options for the Space Marine Army. These can be painted very soon. I've also got all the bits and pieces as well, again from eBay, to put together a Devastator squad. So they'll be put together as well. After that, I might be tempted to leave this. I might want to possibly get a Land Raider. I've not decided yet what I'm going to be adding to it. But that's it. That's for my Space Marine Army. There's over 1,500 points there, so I've got options for most things, which is really cool. Yeah, really looking forward to that. So, what else did you need to play 40k? Well, we got our army, we got our rule books, everything. What about psychic powers? Now this is Dark Millennium. Now this was a supplement for 40k 2nd edition that was released in 1994. And this expanded greatly on the core game. It introduced a better psychic phase. We had psychic cards and warp cards. It was like a game within a game, as your psychics duel to nullify each other's powers. It introduced strategy cards, which lended a bit of random fun to the game, except if you drew the virus outbreak card. Then your opponent probably wouldn't be too pleased with you if they ran Orc or Imperial Guard. Eventually GW asked people to remove that card from the deck, given how potent it was. But Dark Millennium also gave war gear cards. It just expanded on the game. It wasn't mandatory. You didn't have to play with Dark Millennium. But like I said, it expanded on it and brought it to a new level with the psychic powers and strategy cards, increased war gear, etc. Now when I decided to get back into 40k 2nd edition, this was my biggest fear, that I wouldn't be able to find a copy of this, because it does elevate the game. It really does. When we played back in the 90s, we had 2 copies of this. I never actually owned a copy of this when I was a kid. 2 people in our gaming group both had a copy, and we used their copies for games of 40k. But I knew I wanted to include this in this new revival for me of 2nd edition 40k, and I was very, very fortunate to find this on eBay for a ridiculously good price. It's missing 1 or 2 things, nothing game breaking, a couple of war gear cards and some tokens. All the psychic cards, all the strategy cards, all the templates, the rule book are all present. And as soon as I saw this, I jumped all over it and ordered it. I bought it straight away. This was the one that was... It was always the back of my mind that I didn't want to play 40k again without playing... without using Dark Millennium. So, yes, I was very fortunate to find this, and it's just something that's going to elevate the game. So with this, I'm all set. Sort of. I need a 2nd army. Because I don't really know anyone else that's got Games Workshop or 40k armies. So I'm working on another army, which I won't discuss in this video. It'll be in the next video. But here's a clue as to what the what the force is going to be. It's going to be a Chaos Space Marine army led by the man himself, Abaddon the Despoiler. Again, another eBay purchase I picked up recently and painted. A miniature I initially owned and bought in 1996, and I got the opportunity to own it and paint it again. But that will be for the next video. Well, I hope you found the video interesting. It's a bit different, I'll be honest. It's very different to what you'd expect on this channel. And if you'd have said to me 6 months ago, oh, by the way, Steve, you'll be back playing retro 2nd edition 40k, I wouldn't have believed you. But it's strange how the hobby turns, so to speak. And this is where I'm at. And since watching Matthew's video, I've painted nothing but Warhammer 40,000 for 5 weeks. I've been watching videos. I've been even been reading old White Dwarfs from 25, 30 years ago. It's been brilliant. It's just reinvigorated my hobby. It's hard to explain. The nostalgia is something different, and it's scratching that sci-fi gaming itch I've not had for a while. If you've got any comments or questions about this, or maybe you're doing your own retro 40k revival, let me know what you're up to. Pop some comments down below and I'll certainly respond to all comments and questions. But as always, thanks for watching. Do take care. May your dice roll well, and I will catch you all in the next video. So bye bye for now.